There might be devotees
Yes.
waiting there. Good. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study circle. We had a short break due to Vaikuntha Ekadashi as well as our trip to Jagannath Puri. So, last 2 Sundays we were not able to have Bhagavad Gita study circle, but we will continue from where we have left. We are in 133rd session today. So, it is 133rd session of the Bhagavad Gita study circle, and we are discussing a very interesting chapter, that is Bhakti Yoga, the 12th chapter, and we have covered 13th and 14th verse in the previous session. So, Krishna has actually begun to explain or to state some very important characteristics of a pure devotee, a devotee's qualities which are very dear to him. So, in this particular section of the Bhagavad Gita, these 8 verses, that is 12.13 to 12.20, this is very interesting because Krishna is saying that these are the qualities that a devotee should have. That means we should all have these qualities so that we become very dear to Him. So we are actually analyzing each one of these um, verses and the qualities so that we can, to some extent, try to practice these particular qualities and imbibe them in our life so that we become dear to Krishna. Okay, so but before we begin the session, let's begin with the pranam mantras. It will be displayed on the screen, and devotees, all of you can chant along with me the pranam mantras. Let's dedicate this session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON and my beloved spiritual master. So kindly join your palms and let's chant the pranam mantra. नम ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So welcome back once again to the Bhagavad Gita study circle. So in the previous session we had discussed about the 13th and the 14th verse, which are combined together, and it was said that how Krishna is saying Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam Maitraha Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirahankaraha Samadukka Sukakshami. So these are few qualities. What are those? Adveshtaha is not envious. Sarva Bhutanam, I mean not just human beings, but Sarva Bhutanam. He is not envious of any person, any living entity. Then Maitraha Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirahankaraha Sama Dukkha Sukakshami. This was 13th verse, and 14th verse Santushtaha Satatam Yogi Yatatma Drida Nishchayah Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir Yo Mad Bhakta Same Priyaha. So these are few qualities, and these qualities are mentioned here as one who is not envious, Adveshtaha, but is a friend to all, Maitraha, right, to all the living entities, and who does not think himself a proprietor, Nirmamo, Nirahankaraha, and is equal to everyone, Samaha. In Samaha, equal in both Sukha and Dukha, who is very tolerant, always satisfied, Santushtaha, self controlled, engaged in devotional service with determination, and Nishchaya is there, and with Mana and Buddhi is completely fixed on Krishna. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So 13th and 14th verse explained about this, and we have discussed elaborately about these two verses. Hare Krishna Dev, thank you for joining. So let's chant the 15th verse. So Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the verse for today. So this is very interesting. यस्मान्नोद्विजते लोको
यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको
लोकान्नोद्विजते च यः
लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः
हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो
हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगे
यः स च मे प्रियः.
मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः.
Once again, यस्मान्नोद्विजते लोको
यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको
लोकान्नोद्विजते च यः
लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः
हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो
हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैर्
यः स च मे प्रियः.
मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः.
Please read the translation.
He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very interesting verse, and there are some very interesting qualities that Krishna is saying that a devotee should have, and these are very important things about a devotee, a very special characteristics of a devotee. And what are those? See now, very interestingly, we should know that how there are six qualities mentioned in this particular verse which are dear to Krishna. Number one, Yasman no dvijate doko. What does this mean? So it is stating that a devotee is one, with whom nobody has any problem. Basically, what happens is a devotee is someone who does not create any disturbance in others' mind or in anybody's life. Not just human beings, but also other living entities. Yasman no dvijate loko. Because of him, a particular devotee, nobody else is put into distress or problems. That is the quality of a devotee. That means a devotee is so nice that anybody who comes in contact with a devotee, he doesn't have to suffer. He will not suffer. He will only get sadhu means he will only get benefit out of it, meeting a devotee. So a devotee is one. Anybody who comes in contact with a devotee, he is always going to become happy. He meeting a devotee is always a pleasure. Nobody becomes disturbed by meeting a devotee. That is the nature of a devotee. There is so much of positivity. There is so much of that spiritual vibrance in a devotee that anybody who comes in contact generally will become very happy meeting a devotee. So yasman no dvijate loko means because of a devotee, no one becomes disturbed. That's one of the quality. So if our presence is actually creating disturbance in someone else, there is a chance that actually we are still we have a long way to progress. We are still yet to become a pure devotee. We are devotees, but we are yet to become pure devotees. Lokan no dvijate chaha. And there are people who may try to give disturbance to a devotee. He is not actually giving distress to anyone. He is very happy. He is always spreading joy everywhere. But lokan no dvijate chaya. There will be some disturbing elements who may actually try to disturb a devotee, but in spite of such disturbance from the surrounding people, he will still not be disturbed. That is the nature of a devotee. Thank you so much, Lakshmi Mataji, for joining. So, Yasman nodvijate loko means a devotee is such a person that he will not give disturbance to anyone. His presence will always give joy to others. And lokan nodvijate chahaya, although there might be people who might actually give a lot of problems and disturb a devotee, he will still be undisturbed. That is the nature of a devotee, a very special thing. So, just like you see in the case of Prahlad Maharaj, now Prahlad Maharaj is such a devotee, Yasman Nod Vijate Loko. His presence was so positive that all his classmates, everyone joined him in Sankirtana. He never actually gave any problem. But Lokano Dvijate Chaha, there were some people, his own father and his gurus, who were actually trying to give disturbance to them. So, why does this happen? A devotee is someone, you are saying, Prabhuji, it's contradictory. The very first statement is saying that a devotee is someone who will not disturb anyone, but there are some people who are getting disturbed and trying to give some problems to the devotee. Huh. So Hiranyakashipu is actually not getting disturbed because of Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyakashipu is getting disturbed because of his own material desires, which were getting unfulfilled because of this fellow. Just see. So what happens when people actually they try to give you some problem or they try to disturb you, they bad mouth about you. It is not because your problem. It is not because you are trying to give them distress, but it is their own materialistic desires which are unfulfilled, their own materialistic expectations from you which are unfulfilled, and due to that they try to create some problems. So a devotee is Yasman no Dvijate Loko. He is so wonderful that he doesn't want to create disturbance to anyone. But there might be people who may get disturbed. That is not because of the devotee, but it is because of their own unfulfilled expectations from you or a devotee. So this is how quality number one is he is never disturbing anyone, a devotee. And lokan no dvijate chaha, although there might be people like Hiranyakashipu who might try to disturb a devotee, he is not disturbed. So this is how we should try to imbibe these two qualities in our life. That first of all, as a devotee, consciously or unconsciously, we should not disturb anyone. We should not agitate anyone in day-to-day affairs. Many times when we discuss, when we interact with people, there is a possibility that directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, we may try to disturb someone, agitate someone. A devotee will not do that. A devotee should not do that. We should try to avoid that, right? And there will be some people who will try to disturb us. Try to tolerate, never get disturbed as much as possible. The more you tolerate, the better the devotee you are. Prabhupada always said, what is that? The uh, greatness, the greatness of a devotee is known by how much he can tolerate provoking situations in life. I repeat that again. The greatness of a devotee is known by how much he can tolerate the provoking situations in life. So there will be provoking situations in life. So we need to tolerate, and by tolerating such provoking situations, we will become great. That is the definition of tolerance given by Prabhupada. So that is how it is. And so these are two qualities. Then the next quality is muktaha. What are muktaha? Mukta from harsha, mukta from amarsha, and mukta from bhaya, mukta from udvegaha. So what does this mean? It means that a devotee is free from harsha. Harsha means what? Harsha means he is free not from happiness or joy. That harsha means happiness, joy. Oh, everyone looks for happiness and joy, right, in this life. And how is that a devotee trying to become free, mukta from harsha? No, this mukta or this freedom from harsha is not the spiritual enjoyment, the spiritual joy. A devotee is free from those temporary happiness that we derive because of some materialistic things. Sometimes you get a mobile phone, a new mobile phone, there is some sort of joy. A devotee is not disturbed, or he doesn't become joyful because of some material gain. When we get something material, there is some sort of harsha, right? There's some sort of happiness or joy that we get momently. That is, we are happy, but that happiness is very momentary. It is very not continuous happiness. It is a very discontinuous happiness, right? You get a mobile, you may be happy for a day or two, and then it becomes very normal after a week, right? So a devotee is not uh, elated by these kind of temporary happiness. So we should try to be very stable, especially never get so excited about any material gain, because we know that it is temporary in nature. So devotee is not uh, uh, elated by these kind of things. So muktaha means he is free from this kind of material joys. And amarsha, amarsha means, it is another quality that Krishna is explaining. Amarsha means there is a person who is having more than what I have. When somebody has more than what we have, then there is a tendency that we become very envious of that person. So this is a synonym. Amarsha is synonym of dvesha, where somebody has something more than me. Oh, somebody is a very good speaker than me. Somebody is a very good singer than me. Somebody is a very good cook than me. Then, or somebody has more money than me. We may actually get a little envious of that person. We actually try to see that person, put down that person down, or we become envious. So that is amarsha. A devotee is never amarsha. He sees that amarsha means if somebody has more than what I have, a devotee thinks that yes, this is because the Lord has bestowed that opulence to him. It is my Lord. I have Krishna with me, and that same Krishna has actually bestowed that quality to him, has given more than what I have, because ultimately it is coming from Krishna. I will respect it. A devotee never becomes envious. Vandana Mataji, thank you so much for joining. So a devotee means is amarsha. Amarsha means he is never envious of a person who has more than what he has. So if you see around you a people who have something more than what you have, so you should remember this verse and say, oh yes, Krishna is telling amarsha, I should not become more envious of this person. Instead, you should know that whatever more he has got, he actually has got it from Krishna. Krishna only, my Lord has given him. So a devotee becomes happy that yes, my Lord has given him more than what I have. Never envious, right? So that is amarsha. Then bhaya. Bhaya means what? Fear. So a devotee is free from fear. भक्त जो है वो भय से मुक्त है. Why? How? Because see, the भय जो है ना, दो प्रकार के होते हैं. There are two types of fears. What are those two types of fears? One is external fear, and one there is internal fear. What is external fear? External fear is somebody will come and rob my purse. Somebody will come and occupy my property. Somebody probably will hurt me through some weapon, a knife or something like that. These are all external fears. Now, these days, again, the COVID is rising up, right? Many people are talking about COVID again. So, Corona फिर से वापस आ गया. So, it's many people say, now that is bhaya, external fear. So, this external fear is there. So, this is external fear. There is internal fear. Internal fear. What is Andruni Bhaya? Andruni Bhaya is that which comes, that Bhaya which comes because of our misdeeds. जब भी हम कोई पाप करते हैं, whenever we do some sins, we told some lies, और हमने ऐसा कुछ आचरण किया है which is not as per the Shastra. When we don't perform activities, acts as per the Shastra, and we do something wrong, it creates a fear in us. Whenever we tell lies, whenever we do something wrong, then there is a fear inside us. So a devotee is free from such fears because he is not doing anything wrong. So internally, he is very pure. So because he is very pure from within his heart, he has no fear. And externally, he is completely dependent on the Lord. He knows that Lord is always going to protect me. So that is how he is also fearless. You see, Prahlad Maharaj, एक्सटर्नली सो मच डिस्टर्बेंस, कभी हाथी के पैर के नीचे कुचलने की कोशिश किया, उसको विष दे के खत्म करने की कोशिश किया, आग में जलाने की कोशिश किया, ऊपर पर्वत से फेंका गया प्रहलाद महाराज को। एक्सटर्नली सो मच डिस्टर्बेंस वर देयर, पर प्रहलाद महाराज हमेशा क्या करते थे? ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ही वाज ऑलवेज चैंटिंग ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, and because he was chanting, the Lord was protecting always. So externally there is no fear, internally there is no fear for a devotee, because the devotee is continuously offering prayers. He is surrendered completely to the lotus feet of Krishna. When we take the shelter of lotus feet of Krishna, there is no fear. We become fearless. There is a very beautiful song, the Vaishnava song. भजहु रे मना श्रीनंदनंदन अभय चरण रविंद रे। भजहु रे मना श्रीनंदनंदन अभय चरण रविंद रे। दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे, दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे, हरो ये भव सिंधु रे। भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदनंदन अभय चरण रविंद रे। So very beautiful song which explains that how, oh Bhaja, oh my mind, please constantly chant Nandanandana. You chant the glories of Nandanandana, and by that, when you are surrendering to the Padaravinda, automatically you become fearless. It's very natural, it is very true. This is the personal experience of many devotees. When we become so absorbed in devotional service, there is no fear. There were so many fears. Even me, there were so many fears. When I was in 11th and 12th, I used to be so fearful of death. I would think, I would get nightmares. I would think that I'm going to die and wake up in the middle of the night thinking that I'm going to die now. But when we read Prabhupada books, when I read Prabhupada books, oh my God, there was so much of transformation. That fear gone automatically. So we don't have to worry about fear when we are surrendered to Krishna. And then udvegehi. Udvegehi means a devotee never is, this is not agitation because of the previous one. Esman nod vijate lokaha, loka nod vijate. A devotee is never hyper, never gets hyper because of some material gain again. So basically, any external factors, any thing that is so exciting for people today, udvegahi, a devotee is not udvegahi because why? He is not interested in any of these material things. He is completely free from all these unwanted things. That's why there is no udvega. Udvega, vega means force, right? So vega is a force which causes anxiety. Many times udvega means also that anxiety or a disturbance that comes because of material attachments. Many times it happens to us. When we are attached to certain external things, there is a sort of anxiety, a distress, tension, that, oh, chinta. We say chinta, that chinta is there. When you are in chinta, when you have certain chinta in your mind, the anxiety in your mind, it is somewhere because of some अटैचमेंट, एक कहीं स्ट्रिंग जुड़ा हुआ है, अटैचमेंट का स्ट्रिंग कहीं ना कहीं जुड़ा हुआ है। और जब तक हमारे ये धागे जो है, अटैचमेंट के धागे, जो स्ट्रिंग्स ऑफ अटैचमेंट्स दैट वी हैव कनेक्टेड टू सम मटेरियल थिंग्स, देयर विल बी चिंता। And a devotee has actually cut off all these different strings. And because he has cut off all these different strings, तो उससे क्या होता है, जो अटैचमेंट के जो स्ट्रिंग्स हैं जब डिवोटीज कट कर देते हैं, देन देर इज नो चिंता, चिंता मुक्त हो जाते हैं डिवोटीज. एंड सो मेनी पीपल टुडे आर इन चिंता, so many psychological problems, especially in the US. Every third person is going to a psychiatrist in US. In India, is this increasing today? There is a lot of demand for psychiatrists and counselors. Why? Because people are disturbed. There's a lot of chinta. There's a lot of anxiety. Chita chinta samayuktaha bindumatrena samayutaha. So it is a chitta and chinta. It is only bindu matrena. There is only one bindu difference. What does chitta do? Chitta means a funeral pyre. It will burn you once, एक बार. चिंता बार बार पूरी जिंदगी भर हमको चिंता जो है जलाती है. इट कॉन्स्टेंटली बर्न्स अस. सजीवम दहते चिंता, निर्जीवम दहते चिता. चिता एक बार, once you are dead, once for all, your body is burnt and gone. But chinta is such fire that keeps on burning us from within all throughout our life. And people are especially in chinta. Why? Because they are having debts, loans, EMIs. The major chinta everyone today has is because everybody's life is under debt, chinta, and loans are there. Because as long as you are having debts and loans, you cannot become happy. That's why Yudhishthir Maharaj is saying a person will always be in chinta, anxiety, if he has loans, debts. Never get into taking any loans. Very big problem it is. Very big problem. So we should try to avoid. So these are some wonderful qualities that Krishna is explaining. 6 qualities. Yasma no dvijate loko, loka no dvijate chaha. So harsha, marsha, bhayad udvegahi. So he is completely muktaha from all these things. So we should become muktaha. So, right, so these are some very nice qualities that are dear to Krishna. So, this is 12.15. So, let's understand 12.16 now. 12.16. Dave, you can unmute yourself. Let's share the next verse. Just hold on. Yeah. So, yeah, actually, there is another thing that I wanted to share. This is a very interesting verse I got uh, from Bhartartri. It is Niti Shataka. It said that Mrugamina Sajjananam Trunajala Santushta Vrittinam Lubdhak Divar Pishunam Nishkaranam Meva Vairino Jagati. Basically, it means that, see, there are 3 animals mentioned here. Murga. Murga means deer. And Meena is fish. And Sajjanana means a very saintly person, a very nice person, a noble person. So Amriga is very contented with eating grass. What is it? He's happy. A deer is happy eating grass. A fish, it is happy with being in water. And a Sajjana, a very noble person, a nice person, is happy, santushtaha. He is very happy just within himself, self-contented. So they are all very happy, but what happens? Lubdak diva pishuna. Lubdak means a hunter. There will be a disturbing element. Lubdak. Mriga has not done anything, but still a hunter will come and try to attack it. Then Divar means a fisherman. A fish has not done anything, but still a fisherman will go and catch the fish and try to eat it. And Pishuna means Dushta Lokaha. Dushta Loka means all those um, inimical people. You are very good, but there'll be some inimical people who will try to Nishkarane. There'll be no reason, but still they will try to attack you. Nishkarana. So this is the world. This world is designed like that. You are very happy within yourself, contented, but then there will be some external people or forces which will try to disturb. That's why tapatraya. This world is tapatraya, dukkhalayam. So very interesting that this verse is there. That's why we should know that a devotee is very peaceful, but there will be people who will try to disturb us. Okay. Then verse number 16. Let's chant this. Dave, you can unmute yourself. अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः
अनपेक्षा शुचिर्दक्ष
उदासीनो गतव्यतः
उदासीनो गतव्यतः
सर्वारंभ परित्यागी
सर्वारंभ परित्यागी
यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः.
यो मद्भक्ता स मे प्रियः.
Let's do that once again. अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः
अनपेक्षा शुचिर्दक्ष
उदासीनो गतव्यतः
उदासीनो गतव्यतः
सर्वारंभ परित्यागी
सर्वारंभ परित्यागी
यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः.
यो मद्भक्ता स मे प्रियः.
Please read the translation.
My devotee, who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
See, wonderful, very nice. So, another few qualities are explained here. A devotee is not dependent on ordinary course of activities, who is pure, is shuchihi, is expert, dakshaha, without cares, right? Free from all pains and not striving for any result. Anapekshaha, no result, is very dear to me. So let's try to understand these few qualities, very interesting things. So, anapeksha, now a devotee never hankers for anything. He has no desires whatsoever, in the sense, no materialistic desires. He is really free from all these unwanted things. He doesn't want to control any material thing. These are some amazing qualities. And a devotee, a pure devotee, is never dependent on ordinary actions. That's why he is very peaceful. He remains very peaceful because he is not on the material platform, he is on a spiritual platform. Our whole business here in understanding Bhagavad Gita, in practicing Krishna consciousness, why do we do all these things is because we want to elevate ourselves from material platform to a spiritual platform. We want to go to that level of spirituality. That's why we are meeting every Sunday. At least to some degree, we are pushing ourselves so that we also become a devotee who will slowly become anapekshaha. A devotee remains very uh, peaceful because there is no material desires. So that is how a devotee is deriving great ecstasy in thinking about Krishna always, never dependent on any of these material things. So we should not struggle for money. We should not unnecessarily struggle for some material gains. The devotee never struggles. He just accepts whatever comes on its own accord. He never does, because if it has to come to you, it will come to you anyways. You just keep doing your actions. You keep doing your duty as a matter of duty. Whatever we are supposed to do, we will do it, and whatever results are actually destined to come, it will come. Even if you don't want, it will come, because that is how the laws of karma are. We don't make any extra endeavor and then we become attached to the results. So because there is no extra endeavor, we are not working for the result. A devotee works for the pleasure of Krishna, and because he works for the pleasure of Krishna, he is very peaceful. Why is he peaceful? Because there is reciprocation from Krishna. A devotee is satisfied with the reciprocations of Krishna. That is how. It's not a one-way thing. No. Why we are satisfied? Because Krishna is reciprocating in devotees' lives. That's why we are satisfied. It is not artificial that, oh, I'll give up everything, I'll not be attached. No, I'll not be attached because I know there is something more I'm getting from Krishna. Krishna is reciprocating with us, devotees, right? So that is why anapekshaha. And the best thing is, the beauty is that anapeksha is to a level where in the highest level is explained in the Shikshastakam, the eighth verse of Shikshastakam, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying he's actually in the mood of Radharani, we all know. And what is Radharani's mood? Mood is that Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam addarshanan marmatam karotu va yata tata va vidhatu lambato mat prananatastu yasta evana paraha. So Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam, you, my lord, you want to hug me, you can hug me, or addarshanar manmahatam karotuva, you crush me at your feet. Yata tata va vidadhatu lampato. Whether you accept me, don't accept me, or you accept any other woman also, Radharani's mode, mat prananatastu evana paraha. You will be my prananata. That is the mood of Radharani. You accept me, you crush me, you hug me, or you just ignore me, I will always remain. You will remain my prananata. I will remain at your lotus feet. My devotion is unwavering. So anapekshaha means that they are not even willing to have the association of devotees. You know, we are all doing this seva and sadhana. We are practicing all this chanting. Why? Because we want to have darshan of the Lord. But the devotees here are saying that I don't want even darshan of the Lord. Anapeksha is to that extent. They are not even asking that, my Lord, you please give me a darshan. So that is anapekshaha. So this is an extraordinary and highest level of bhakti. We are not at that level and we cannot even imitate that level. And a similar verse is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very similar and close, which is in the 11th canto, 14th chapter, 16th verse. It is said that Nirapekshaha Munishantaha Nirvairaha Samadarshanam Anu Vrajamyaham Nityam Puye Nitya Puye Nityangrihi Renubhim. What does it mean? Nirap, Nirapekshaha, Anupekshaha, Nirapekshaha. What is this? This is Krishna speaking to Uddhava. Krishna is speaking to Uddhava and Krishna is saying, very interesting verse, he's saying, Nirapekshaha Munishantaha. A devotee, a muni who is Nirapekshaha and Nirvairaha Samadarshanam, who is not inimical to anyone, and is Samadarshanam, who sees everyone equally. Anuvrajami. Vrajami means to keep walking. Anuvrajami means to follow. Krishna is saying, I follow such devotees. Wherever such devotees are there, wherever they walk, I walk behind them. Anuvrajami nityam, not that once in a while. I always walk behind such devotees who are nirapekshaha, who are nirvairaha, who are samadarshanam. See, even the Lord is walking behind such devotees who are desireless. Desireless means don't have any material desires. Puye nityangre renum. He, Lord, is saying that why does he walk behind such devotees? Because he wants to worship the dust of such devotees. Now, such an important thing. You just imagine that Krishna is willing to worship the dust of his devotees who are nirapekshaha, anapekshaha, nirapekshaha. Both are same. सो भगवान भी ऐसे निरपेक्ष भक्तों की सेवा करना चाहते हैं और उनका अनुसरण करना चाहते हैं, उनके पीछे पीछे भागते हैं भगवान. वाई? ये किस लिए भागते हैं? क्योंकि ऐसे उनकी जो भक्तों की चरण धूलि है उनको भी भगवान पूजना चाहते हैं, भगवान स्वयं पूजना चाहते हैं. So you can imagine how great such devotees are. That's why Krishna is saying such qualities are very dear to me. Anapekshaha. It is not so easy. अनपेक्षा ऐसे बनना इतना बोलने में बहुत आसान है, बट हम लोगों को इतने सारे डिजायर्स हैं. जस्ट दिस इवनिंग आई वांट टू ईट, वी हैव एन अपेक्षा, आया राज रसगुल्ला मिलना चाहिए. नहीं, रसगुल्ला तो बहुत खा लिया, गुलाब जामुन बहुत खा लिया, अभी कुछ और चाहिए. We always have some apeksha, desires, material desires. Krishna is saying, don't have. So that is how it is. If you want to have desire, you have desire to meet me. Krishna says we should always have that. I want to serve. सिर्फ सेवा का एक अपेक्षा होना चाहिए भक्तों को, और कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए. There is only that अपेक्षा that we should have. So that is one quality, अनपेक्षा. राइट. सो एटलीस्ट लेट अस ट्राई टुडे. आज से थोड़ा हमारी जो अपेक्षा है इस भौतिक जगत से उनको कम करें. लेट अस ट्राई टू रिड्यूस आवर मटेरियल डिजायर्स. एंड शुचि ही मीन्स cleanliness. In one of the practical devotional service, practical spirituality, we had discussed this in that session. Suchi he means cleanliness. There is internal cleanliness, there is external cleanliness. Internal cleanliness is what? Internal cleanliness means becoming free from lust, greed, anger, envy, pride. All these things. काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मोह, ये मात्सर्य, इन सभी चीजों से मुक्त होना, वो इंटरनल क्लेanliness है. और इंटरनल क्लेanliness कैसे होता है? इंटरनल क्लेanliness हम लोग जब भगवत गीता सुनते हैं, श्रवणम करते हैं, when we hear Bhagavad Gita, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we become purified internally. Every time when we do that, we become purified internally. Every day when we chant, internal cleanliness. Externally, yes, we take bath every day. We become clean externally, right? So there is external cleanliness, there is internal cleanliness. Internal cleanliness is what matters to Krishna. External cleanliness is for our deity worship and our regular things, but for Krishna, it is secondary. For Krishna, internal cleanliness is important. He looks at internal cleanliness. How much are we free from lust? How much free are we from greed? How much free are we from anger? How much free are we from attachments and illusions, moha? So this is what Krishna is looking for. That is Suchihi, cleanliness. So when you go to Ganga, you take bath, you become purified. Right? गंगा में हम लोग जाके जब नहाते हैं, हम लोग प्यूरिफाई होते हैं. मेनी पीपल गो और गंगा स्नान करते हैं. क्यों? Why they want to go to Ganga? Because they want to get purified. That is external cleanliness. But there is another cleanliness. What is that? Comes from meeting the devotees. एक गंगा से हम लोग शुद्ध होते हैं, और शुद्ध भक्त जैसे कि प्रभुपाद, उनके संग से, by associating with pure devotees, we become pure. So Ganga can purify us and a devotee can purify us. But among these two, who is more powerful? अगर गंगा भी है, प्यूरिफाई करते हैं, और एक शुद्ध भक्त भी है, तो दोनों को अगर, if you have an option to meet both of these two, whom will you meet? Whom will you choose to get purified?
Pure
It's a
devotee.
question.
Pure devotee.
Pure devotee? You don't want to go to Ganga?
I want both, but if you said to choose, Prabhuji,
Yeah, good.
pure devotee will lead me to Ganga.
That's very interesting. Yes, that is a fact. A pure devotee, see, if you want to get purified by taking bath in Ganga, you have to go to Ganga. You have to walk all the way till Ganga, isn't it? हम लोगों को गंगा के पास जाना होता है. Then you get purified. You take a dip and then you become purified. But devotees ऐसे है कि वो घर पे आ जाएंगे, भगवत गीता देंगे, they'll give you Bhagavad Gita, they'll give you prasadam, they will tell you to chant. Ganga will never tell you that, oh, this is your mistake, you shouldn't do like this. You give up meat eating, you give up intoxication. But a pure devotee is not like that. He comes and he rectifies. He tells you, you don't eat this non-vegetarian food, you don't drink alcohol, you don't do all these nonsensical things. A devotee is proactively purifying us. But Ganga is not like that. Even Ganga herself didn't want to come to this Bhuloka. Ganga आना ही नहीं चाहती थी यहाँ पे. Ganga was so worried. She told, अगर मैं एक, she gave two reasons. गंगा ने दो बहाने दिए कि मुझे यहाँ पे नहीं आना है भूलोक को. Why? Because एक तो my प्रवाह, my flow is so intense that nobody can actually handle the intensity of my flow. Number one. And second reason why Ganga didn't want to come is all these सिंफुल पीपल, जो पापिस्ट लोग हैं, वो सभी मेरे अंदर में आके वो स्नान करेंगे और मैं मैली हो जाऊंगी. I will become impure. So Ganga didn't want to come because all these sinful people will come and take bath into me, and then I will become impure. So I don't want to come. But there is a very nice verse in the Bhagavatam which explains that how Ganga was assured that you will not become impure. Why? Because when the pure devotees, they come and take dip into your waters, you will become purified. सी शुद्ध भक्त इतने प्योर है, इतने पावरफुल है कि जब वो जाके गंगा में नहाते हैं, गंगा उनको प्योर नहीं करती है, बट बल्कि वो गंगा को प्योर करते हैं. दैट इज द प्योरिटी ऑफ द डिवोटीज. दे प्यूरिफाई इवन द गंगा. दैट इज हाउ पावरफुल प्रभुपाद इज. Srila Prabhupada is so powerful that he purified the most sinful people in the world. Ganga was only residing here in India, but Prabhupada went all over the world and he brought people, the most sinful people, into Krishna consciousness. That is the purity of a pure devotee, much more than Ganga. That is Suchihi. A devotee is so clean internally and externally that he makes so many in the world clean like him, both internally and externally. That is the purity, right? So that is Suchihi. Dakshaha. Daksha means expert. Expert in not managing a business, expert not in any particular sports field, expert not in any materialistic activities or talents. Expert means a real expertise of a devotee is how expert a devotee am I? How expertly am I going to the ultimate goal of achieving the spiritual world? That is expert. If you are doing anything that is not taking you to the spiritual world, you are not an expert. We may be very expert. हम लोग दक्ष हो सकते हैं सिंगिंग में, कुकिंग में, पॉलिटिक्स में, any of these material, हम बहुत एक्सपर्ट हो सकते हैं. We can be very expert, but in reality, Krishna is not talking about that kind of expertise here. Daksha doesn't mean that kind of expertise. Daksha means a devotee is always focusing on the ultimate goal, that is Golokadham, spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka. जब हम हर चीज को वैकुंठ लोक जाने के लिए एक्सपर्टली कुछ करते हैं, that is real expertise. Nothing else will really matter. Everything is zero. Other expertise is all simply zero. Okay, so that is Dakshaha. Udasina means, many commonly people use this word udas. I'm very udas today. I'm very dull today. I'm very udas. No, that is not the meaning of udas. Meaning है asina, asana. Asana means क्या? Asina means बैठना, to sit on a higher platform. Asana means a elevated platform. Udasina means anyone who sits on an elevated platform, he should be udasina. That means he should be non-partial. जो भी डिवोटी है, वो जो एक आसन पे बैठते हैं, एक एलिवेटेड प्लेटफॉर्म पे बैठते हैं, he should be उदासीन, he should be impartial. कोर्ट में जब जज बैठते हैं, वो ऊपर बैठते हैं. ऊपर इसलिए बैठते हैं क्योंकि वो इम्पार्शियल होते हैं. उनको इम्पार्शियल होना पड़ता है, तभी उनको जज बोला जाता है. वो कभी पक्षपात नहीं करते. दे नेवर टेक parties, they, I favor this person because I like him. No, a devotee is never impartial. He's never partial. He's always impartial. A devotee is impartial towards anything. That is udasina. When you get elevated to a certain position, we become more and more impartial. We need to. If we are favoring someone, and that too without reason, then we are not devotees. So, this is one quality. Being impartial is the quality that Krishna likes. We should never be no partiality. Many times, even as parents, we should be very alert, no partiality. As devotees, as temple management, a member of temple management or any management, if you are in a higher position, you should be always impartial for the higher benefit of the organizations, right? And the next is Gatavyataha. Gatavyataha means that Krishna Prabhupada is explaining that a devotee is Gatavyataha means freed from all distress. Gatavyataha means that a devotee is she is never captured by anxiety or distress. Again, the same, very similar to what we have discussed earlier. Gatavyataha means he is not put into any distress. He is very free. That's a peace of mind is um, a luxury today. Peace of mind is luxury today. Why? Because people are very agitated all the time because of so many reasons, because of internet, social media, because of the wars surrounding, because of the neighbors around us. There is a lot of distress constantly all around us. We see diseases, we see death. There's distress around. So when we as devotees become detached from the body, we become more and more free, peaceful. And that peaceful, when we have become, our mind becomes peaceful, it helps us to actually elevate ourselves to higher platforms. As long as we are disturbed, we cannot focus on anything. Our focus is always going to be disturbed. So that's why peacefulness is important. We need to become peaceful. And the best way to be satisfied and peaceful is to always remember Krishna, to always chant his glories, to absorb ourselves in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, listening to Bhagavad Gita. This will make us peaceful. Right? Gatapyataha. Sarvaramba Parityagi means Aramba, we know Aramba means to start. So Sarvaramba Parityagi means doesn't mean that a devotee never initiates anything. Sarvarama. Arama means to start, to initiate. Parityagi means to give up. So does it mean that devotee never initiates anything? No, devotees initiate. Just like uh, about 52 minutes ago, we initiated this class, right? So we have started this class. We are discussing about Krishna Kathas. So we initiate building new temples, so many new activities and programs, spiritual programs. The devotees are always engaged in initiating so many new things, right? So Sarvaramba Parityagi means he will never initiate anything that is for material benefit. Many people, old age homes, and there are some uh, schools or many philanthropic things people initiate. So he doesn't, the devotee doesn't get involved in any of these materialistic things. He doesn't initiate any materialistic activities. So Sarvaramba Parityagi means he will not initiate anything that will lead to material things, material growth. So that is what is Sarvaramba Parityagi. So he initiates only spiritual things, that which is helpful for the soul and not for the body. So he initiates everything that will benefit the soul, but he never initiates anything that is benefits the body. So this is a very clear distinction between a devotee and a non-devotee. A devotee is always initiating things which will benefit the soul. That's why many people cannot understand why many people also try to stay away from ISKCON. Is this one reason why? Because we are constantly talking about giving up things. You always try to tell people to give up things which they are so attached to. It's not so easy, and that's why not many people take up. Why? Because ISKCON means we have to give up, and that is something that they don't want to. They don't want to parityag. They don't want to give up things. So These are some very important qualities, about 12 qualities we have discussed in 15 and 16th verse. And another four verses are there which Krishna is going to explain some more wonderful qualities, which we will discuss in the next session. But if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
yeah, Prabhuji, you said that about chinta, na? That a devotee
Hmm.
does not do chinta, and
Yes.
you told about two kinds of fears, the external and the internal.
Hmm.
So, how do we handle the chinta part, Prabhuji, as a devotee or trying to be a devotee?
No, external part, what is that? I didn't get that aspect. External and internal,
No,
you
I'm
said
saying
something.
you said that a devotee is should not be engrossed in chinta,
Huh.
worry. So there were
Yes.
two kinds of worries, external and internal. So the
Hmm.
external and the internal worries, how are we supposed to handle it ideally?
No, I spoke about the external cleanliness, internal cleanliness, and there is external fear and internal fear. Okay, bhaya. So now, of course, chinta is also related to bhaya, and so internal bhaya is, or bhaya or chinta. See what happens mm, uh, when we do anything wrong. That is that creates internal bhaya, fear, and when there is fear, there is worry. And
Correct.
whenever we do anything wrong, it kind of uh, agitates our mind because it is not in line with dharma which is mentioned in the scripture. See what happens when we do any adharmic activity. The natural thing that comes is it follows is bhaya, because you know that there is something, your conscience will not allow you to be peaceful, because somewhere deep within you know that it is wrong. Why? Because your conscience is spiritual. You are a spiritual being. And you know that what activity that we have done is wrong, which is not in line with the happiness of the soul. So when that is not in line, then somewhere that disturbance is there. There is that sync is there. That synchronization is not there. Why we ask people to follow shastras? Because when we do activities as per shastras, it is in line with the soul's benefit. But when we do something which is viruddha, then that creates agitation and fear. Then that chinta comes. Why? Because why that chinta comes? Because you are uncertain of the output now. You are, because out of ignorance we did something wrong, and out of that there is fear, and that fear is leading to worry because you exactly don't know what will be the outcome of that. Oh yes, now what if I get caught? If I'll get caught today or I'll get caught tomorrow. you know Constantly you are in that fear of uh, getting that reaction to the activity. And when you are constantly thinking of the reaction of our own wrongdoings, then that creates a fear, that creates chinta. Now this is about the internal fear and the internal chinta, because of the internal fear, because I have done something wrong. But there is external fear and chinta also, that is because of our attachments to certain people or things. What if my property is taken away by somebody else? What if somebody destroys a certain thing or a person whom I am attached so much? When we are attached to certain external things, that also creates a certain type of fear, because that attachment is there. And that attachment is constantly making you worry about, what if something happens to him. Why that worry? Because that attachment is leading to some why you are attached to that person or that thing, because it gives you certain pleasure. There is certain joy that you derive out of it. But you are now fearful, what if that string is cut off, somebody destroys that string. That fear is because I am deriving some pleasure. My pleasure may actually be stopped because of that destruction, external destruction. I will stop enjoying. See, deep within, when we go and analyze, all this is because I want to I'm deriving certain pleasure out of those things, and I'm worried that somebody may actually take away that, destroy that. So that fear is there. But a devotee is thinking, oh yes, why should I be actually dependent on some external things or people for my happiness and pleasure? Why should I simply be fearful because of some wrongdoings? Instead, let me do things as per what Krishna is saying, and let me get attached to Krishna alone. Then I don't have to fear about the external destruction, and I don't have to worry about doing anything wrong. And that way, a devotee knows I will be very happy. And actually, that is how it happens. As we progress in our spiritual life, this is how we start giving up all the external attachments. We ourselves will start cutting off those strings, external things, and that way you are becoming more fearless. And internally, also, when you are knowing and you are doing your duty every day as per what Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, then what happens is you are aligning yourself in Krishna's words. You are becoming fearless. That chinta will go away. Why people are so much having that chinta? Because they are uncertain about the outcomes of so many things. They are uncertain about so many external and internal things. So that is why a devotee is not worried about these things, because he is very clear about the outcomes. Why? Because he knows that if you do this, this is the outcome. He knows the karmic reactions. With knowledge, he knows that if I perform this wrong activity or this good activity, this is the outcome. So when he knows that, he is very peaceful. That chinta will not be there.
Okay,
And
Prabhuji, thank you.
in transition phase, suppose
Yes.
I do a wrong thing. I have done something wrong, but I'm also a devotee. Now I do something wrong and I'm a devotee. I need to handle it now. Now I need to handle in a way. This is the most toughest thing. People who are ignorant, no problem. They don't even know that they have done wrong. But when you become aware that I have done wrong, that and I am also wanting to go to Krishna, it becomes a little challenge. So that is where you need association of devotees, because this transition phase is very difficult. And you have done wrong, you have the knowledge of it, and I want to please Krishna also. So that course correction, all that will happen when we are discussing with devotees. Internally, we need to handle uh, with maturity, and only by sadhana. Again, we need to jump back. There will be fall downs, there will be chinta, because there will be chinta, because you know that this is, I am knowledgeable now. The chinta is, the spirit devotee has another challenge. Especially practicing devotees have another challenge and chinta, because "Arey, re, re, I know that this is the karma that I'm going to get now. I have done this wrong. That means I am going to get this reaction. That chinta will come. But a devotee also has a little relief, because he has knowledge of how to counteract that also. That is why knowledge helps. Knowledge helps you. For a devotee, knowledge gives a little bit of chinta, because oh yes, I've done wrong. But for a devotee, another relief is that, oh yes, this knowledge gives me also how to counteract that thing. So that's how guidance is required constantly. So there is up and downs, constant fluctuation in devotee's life. He goes sometimes down, goes up, all that is go on. But when we associate with devotees, we progress quickly. Chinta will come down. We should have someone to speak out our heart. When we don't have a devotee around you to whom you cannot reveal your heart, it becomes difficult. But if you have someone to whom you can reveal your heart, lot of your chinta will come automatically down. We need to have someone, a devotee especially. So
Okay,
I hope that.
Prabhuji. Thank
All right. So we will meet again in the next session next Sunday. Until then, please take care. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
you.
Krishna
Hare
Dev.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone.